Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Handsome German, the only show on the internet. And it's been a while since I've created some original Beyond Good and Evil content, as the kids would call it. So I figured, hey, let's just do the only thing that Ubisoft will let us do and rewatch old stuff all over again. And that's what we're doing here today. I'm sitting back. I got two cats on the couch next to me, and we're going to watch the Space Monkey Report #1 and just see how well it aged, I guess. Obviously, I'm not trying to be too terribly cynical, unlike I very much was in my recap of Space Monkey Report 6, but you know, just gonna have some fun with it. I'm funnily enough, I can't really even attack the developers during this video because, to my knowledge, only one of the 3 people on the couch actually still works on the game. The other 2 quit, so that's promising. Yeah. So let's just get started. I turned on the subtitles. I think they're auto-generated, but it should help you keep track of what's happening on screen even while I'm talking over it. So let's just get into it.
Hello!
Hey, Space Monkeys!
Lots of screaming.
Welcome to our very first stream. This is a live stream for the Space Monkey programs, and we want to get to the heart of the stuff we're going to talk to you about. But first, quick introductions. This is Guillaume. This is our...
Do you think that if you wear a We Are Ubisoft t-shirt in public, you'll be put on some kind of registry?
He's our Space Monkey in chief, n'est-ce pas? Creative director of Beyond Good and Evil 2.
Hi everyone.
And over
Yeah, those were the days, huh?
Who is our community developer. And
like, obviously there are other talented creative directors, and there are other creative directors at Ubisoft
Take it away.
that could probably
Space
make a
Monkeys.
game
The
that's
first time
just
that we
as
actually had the
solid
opportunity to
as
talk to you
anything that
direct.
Michel Ancel can
And,
pull off.
For those of you who don't know
But
what the Space Monkey program
it
is,
won't have
and
the same
you should go to
personality
game.com,
as
and
it
there
would
you'll
have had
see,
with him.
all the things that have been
Also,
happening while
Jacques
we've been,
Exetier, I
doing,
believe, is
here
the
it
name
Yeah.
of the other
Okay,
person responsible
let's
for
get-
the plot
let's get
in
going
Beyond Good
here.
and Evil
So what
1.
exactly is the Space
And
Monkey
to my
program?
knowledge, they haven't worked at Ubisoft
Tagline
in a
that-
long
that
time.
Tells it all is basically
So
participate,
really,
inspire,
we
play.
don't
What does that
have
mean?
any of the original,
It is
any of the notable original
an experience
team members working on the second game,
to have a
to my knowledge. I'm sure there might be
the one who
a
loves the game.
very skilled programmer or artist
Developers
who has
just
been with
develop
Ubisoft
games
Montpellier for the last
or
20 years.
maybe
I'm
upload
sure that's
them
possible,
on the
and
world, Good and
hey,
Evil.
if you've been working at Ubisoft Montpellier for the last 20 years,
And the big thing is
hit
that,
me up.
first participation
I have
today
questions
is,
for
sharing
you
ideas,
for a video I
successes,
want to do in the
and
future.
we will present today, but we want
So,
to go way beyond that, and this is part of the things we will expose and present later.
So since we're celebrating the
So,
6-month anniversary, if that exists.
yeah,
Space
so it's been
Monkey
6 months since they announced the
program.
game at the time of the stream, which means that the game was announced over 5 years ago, and we've gotten an average of 1.2 streams a year that were an hour long each, roughly, and most of them were just hit record. And as much as I appreciate a lot, not all, of the hit record submissions that made it into the game, I'm kind of tired of hearing about it. I'm almost glad hit record is gone, just so they would stop filling half an hour of every
So
stream
who are our Space
with
Monkeys?
just
Well,
hit
just a few
record.
little stats. There's about 80,000 of you. So,
80,000.
good job
I was
signing
one
up,
of them.
and
I still
thank you for signing
am.
up. Our first Space Monkey
I think
ever
we already
was,
missed that part because I
Creed
talked over it, but they said they
located in
wanted to get the
France.
game into our hands as quickly as possible, which is funny because obviously it's 5 years later and
And our top 5
we
countries are
haven't
US,
even
UK,
seen a continuous like 5 minutes of
and
gameplay.
What about the little guys?
The little and then there are 16 countries where there is one space monkey. So
Keep up the good
you're
work,
all over the
guys.
world.
That's kind of
Some of
cool.
you are
The
you're the representatives for your
Extra
country,
little
you're space
shout
monkeys,
outs
so
to
some
the
of them
people
are-
in
so
smaller
those of
countries
you
or countries with
in,
less
Cape
interest in
Verde,
Beyond Good and Evil.
Dominica,
That's nice to
Lesotho,
see. That's
Mozambique, all these
that's
30
wholesome.
countries, you're the
That's
sole
wholesome.
representatives.
Yeah, like
Thank you.
Mozambique. There you go.
Bravo, and the thing is,
We got a kindred spirit over in Mozambique. Isn't that fun? I think that's
community in
cool.
this country, so that's
I wonder how many
Exactly.
space monkeys there are on Hawaii.
So
I should
we wanted to get a
I
little
should
bit more about
I
the
should
space
ask
monkeys
in the
these are.
subreddit,
So we
just
sent out
like,
a
hey,
survey
are
to
you
you
a
guys
space
back in
monkey? And people
September.
are either gonna be like,
And we
what
got
or
a
yes.
huge amount of
I don't think there are
response.
any
So
other
much for
options.
participating. It really means a lot to us. It shows that you're passionate and engaged. We had a very good participation rate, and you guys are very verbose, which is good. We have lots and lots of free-form comments that we're still going
We
through.
sure were
pages and pages.
all those years
Let's
ago.
give you an idea of who your fellow
Man,
space
like
monkeys are.
5 years is a long time.
Well,
I'm
yeah,
trying to
like,
think,
first
like,
of
I don't
all,
even know
half of them,
where I
really
lived
like
5 years
and
ago.
have finished the first Beyond Good and Evil
Hi.
more than 2 times.
Woo,
So that's,
awesome.
that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I've played Beyond Good and Evil like
You guys
8 or
like
9
overwhelmingly,
times. It's
RPG
It's a very good game, and you should play it. If you're somehow here without having played Beyond Good and Evil 1, it's available everywhere, including for free in some places, which I don't encourage at all unless you're in a position where you simply cannot spend money on video games because
getting more
fuck,
detailed
nowadays,
which this is our space
capitalism
happening
and
right
stuff,
now.
you know
It's
what's
hard
up.
to get any more information, but also
Yeah, you can get it for
blog,
cheap somewhere and
cranking
just
out
play
content for
it,
you guys to
and
get
it's a
feedback on.
great, maybe like
And,
10
also
hours,
news about world
maybe
building,
12,
what's going on with the
13 for your
team,
first
and
playthrough because
early
you're
access to
still
the game, which
figuring out how everything
happening.
works. It's a great
And,
little
yeah,
game,
that's
and
pretty much
emphasis
the
on
tools for
little.
Space
It's
Monkey.
very small in
Yeah,
scope,
something that
really.
I want to add about
There
the program.
isn't a lot of freedom of
Um,
expression or character customization, there's none of that.
They're outside of
But
this room here.
it's a very well-structured, linear, half-linear, half-open world game
It's a way for you
that works really well.
to everybody on the team.
Yes, and thank you to all the
Yeah, that whole space monkey thing unfortunately hasn't
So what are we
materialized.
going to talk about today? Well, we already have our shout out to the Space Monkeys.
Woohoo.
We're going to have a live Q&A at the end. So if you'd like to ask your question, please write in the chat or hashtag AskBGE2 or simply hashtag BGE2. And
BGE2.
so speaking
Silly
of asking
subtitles,
questions,
you don't know what's up.
one of the first questions we asked the Space Monkeys was, can you find the Easter eggs in the E3 announcement trailer? So let's take a
Yeah,
look.
that
and
was kind
see,
of a-
we got a lot.
Man,
of people
remember that
who,
trailer?
found
That
quite
trailer
all of
was
them. Some of
awesome.
them that we were
At
like,
first I thought,
that's
oh my
actually
god,
a
no,
pretty good
don't. It's
Easter
the
egg."
family-friendly, super
and
fun time
down
adventure
to
about human
the Chinese
trafficking.
characters written
And
throughout the
then,
wall, like, very detailed.
Yeah,
It
they
was really cool
really
to see that,
aged
and
it up
fans
with
have
the
really
audience
respect
because
for us.
remember the game came out 19 years ago at this point. I made a video about how Pearls of Evilite 3 years ago and talked about how like insane it is that it took 16 years for them to explain what pearls are. That video is old now. The video is older than some members of my family. Baby Paige. Very cute. I'm definitely going to play as a pig hybrid, by the way. In case you haven't been around for the early days of the channel, it used to be called Starboard D, like Starboard, but Starbore, a starboard named D.
But I do have your little toy.
Yeah, I'm sticking to it.
Show me the idol. Show me the Redeemer.
Here you go,
It
mate.
looks so pretty. I didn't know that Paige's full name was Paige-in.
Oh, yo, hand it over. I got a hot date. You don't do.
Oh, maybe it
dates.
isn't.
Monkeys.
I don't know. But Paige-in is a thing. I wonder if it was always supposed to be Paige-in. I also love sci-fi that was made 20 years ago when people still use
What?
What?
CDs.
Fucking chocolate, pig.
Also, where did you get Swiss chocolate from? Because unless you mean chocolate styled to be Swiss. Mama Goes Garage. Nice to see. There are a lot of hybrids that I think would be fun to play. Considering my usual playstyle is to just run in and tank everything, Rhino might be pretty good.
That fucking bastard!
I really hope the platforming is as good as that. Starkos. I never even noticed that. There's even some stuff that... Yep. Hybrid Shark.
My chassis, Noxie.
It's just such a pretty aesthetic. There's a couple of things that I don't really like. Yeah, like Bang Bang Motherfuckers. I don't like the delivery on that. I don't think that's entirely necessary. I do like spaceships firing full broadsides into a heavily populated area. That's totally worth it. But I guess considering that the police are listening to a corrupt pig criminal, I guess it makes sense that they would go fully over the top. Although that's gotta have been expensive as hell to just lose a spaceship like that. That seems really stupid that they didn't build that thing to be sturdier. Like, people use armored cars nowadays. Why wouldn't you armor your giant spaceship that, like, fires homing missiles that might fly back at it? The Pearl of Aramis. They're still acknowledging that they're called Pearls of Aramis.
It's about.
That's pretty cool. Okay, because Page's Wrench, K-Bups. That's really interesting that they are acknowledging Pearls of Aramis are called Pearls of Aramis, because I am 99.999% sure that pearls are made of Divolite. So I'm still really curious why they're called Pearls of Aramis. That has not been explained at all. I looked up Aramis in the context of French culture, and all I found was like some weird crossing in a city or something like that.
True freedom lies beyond.
Yeah, and then the music kicks in. Yeah, I was not sure that this was Beyond Good and Evil 2 until this music started. And like, look at the clouds, so pretty. I was so hyped back in the day. Now, looking forward to Beyond Good and Evil 2 is just kind of
all of those references in there.
an everyday occurrence for me. I'm just kind of passively excited for it. But 5 years ago, I was hyped. I was incredibly pumped
The connection between the two games.
to be on Knievel.
Of course, it's the same world. It does not look as cartoon as the first game, but it's not very important. In fact, the technology, everything has evolved, and because we want to give this feeling of immersion and traveling, we went to something a bit more mature. But the characters, the story, the time frame is really the same. So you will recognize a lot of things. You will discover the past of the main characters you loved in Beyond Good and Evil 1. But you don't need to be...
Who are those main characters?
Wait a minute.
Yeah, you don't
I gotta go back a little bit, and then I'll skip back to this.
About bloody time.
Okay. Page's Wrench. Okay, I guess it's not specifically Page's Wrench. It's just the same brand as the one that Page acquires later on. Because for a second there I thought they were implying that this was Page's Wrench from the first game, which obviously wouldn't make any sense, because he doesn't get it until later. Okay, that's all. That's just something that I realized a little bit too late. Beyond Knievel.
But the characters, the story, the time frame is really the same. So you will recognize a lot of things. You will discover the past of the main characters you loved in Beyond Good and Evil 1. But you don't need to be...
Who are those main characters?
Yeah, you don't need to be... to have played, it's not necessary to play Beyond Good and Evil 1, even if it's
To meal good and evil.
very good.
Play it then.
But yeah, but we wanted to like restart and retell the story, the origin of the world, the origins of those characters, and then so yeah, that's the whole idea. But you will recognize.
Man, I really hope Michel Ancel isn't
And,
a horrible
I don't know if you
person.
guys recognized in the trailer at the end, we are in the Gada, the player's mothership, and if you take a look around,
Here we are. Got the.
we're in the Gada.
We're inside.
We even have Nox here.
Exactly.
with
We're on the
us, like,
bridge.
Yeah, and we can even start the engines and with incredible special effects.
You did it, Michel.
Yeah.
Wow, special effects.
So
Went all out with that, guys.
And the
Anyway.
interesting thing on the command deck is that all of these little objects that we see around us.
Yeah,
are
because
things
there
that
were
are
these allegations, accusations by a small number of employees that Michel Ancel showed very abusive behavior during his time as creative director, and that might have played a part in him retiring because he didn't want to get caught in the crossfire / the actual fire if he was part of the problem.
that would connect.
So he wanted to retire before it catches up
Which
to
I
him,
first
essentially.
asked, which
I
asked the community for
obviously,
inspiration. So what would you bring? with
obviously,
you
in a perfect
to,
world, he's just
from
a
Earth?
wholesome human chungus.
Do you want to talk a little bit about your?
But if he's not,
Dead
then I would love to know more about it. So again, if you worked with Ubisoft Montpellier in the past, if you worked with Michel Ancel,
Like to discuss
then
together.
please get in touch with me because I have to
are
know.
from Earth. So these
Favorite plush, I totally agree with. So this is what would you bring with you
stuff and
on a trip? And
guys
I would
said
bring
the
definitely
kit, but actually that's
my
exactly what I
plush
bring
hippo
myself.
Flushy.
That's what I would bring
I would bring my Switch so I can play Slay the Spire.
from Earth, I mean.
Hey, we have to travel for 12 light years to get to a new planet. It's gonna take a while. It's like, okay, can I play Slay the Spire? If so, then I'll be fine.
We asked you guys what would you take with you. So video games. Sorry.
Hologram of your old room. No.
I would like to bring
Book of recipes. No, just wing it.
every piece of
You can just make up, like, people know that you can just, like, make up recipes, right?
There's also a really
You don't need to bring a cookbook with you.
plants, and I think
You can just take things and you can fry them, you can cook them, and then you put some sauce on them, and then no matter what it is, it'll taste pretty decent, probably.
beyond good and evil.
Yeah,
It's
but
not that hard.
coffee machine.
Yeah, the most important. Some said French press, but I'm not sure that it.
But yeah, to make
You got to have good coffee
yeah,
on the
to
go.
make things very clear. All these ideas are not things that we came up with. It's your input in our inspiration. That's the inspiration part of this.
Exactly. And that
Yeah, the auto-generated subtitles aren't very good. It's your input in India.
There were souvenirs of what life was
I
like.
don't think that's what he meant
Yeah, and again,
to
it's
say.
a real pillar of how we build this world.
It's a real Peter how we built this world.
A big space opera game, but more than a game, it's a world. You need a structure. You need inspiration, and you also need rules. And this is one key rule, like this idea of taking the old souvenir, the old, your important objects, people, traditions, religion, whatever, recipe, coffee machine.
Coffee machine.
And this is creating this link to the future. So
The subtitles really like putting in countries where they don't belong.
Lights, the thing you have in many science fiction movies.
Mm.
But then quickly, just with this little idea of bringing something from your past, your ancestors, it built a new world. And the cities now that we are building in Beyond Good and Evil, they are using this. And with the space monkeys, we discussed a lot and we're already discussing a lot because then it's creating a connection with them because it's today what would you bring there and how would you imagine religion and many cultural things.
And pretty much
traveling.
The whole cultural aspect of this game already confuses me a little bit.
conversation.
Because in Space Monkey Report 6, and I promise I'm not going to do callbacks to future streams all that often, has a lot of, oh, see this Asian, genetically Asian person?
We'll talk a lot
Yeah,
about
they wear Asian clothing because of their culture. I was like, that's not how it works.
And
I live in Hawaii, for example. We have a lot of people from all over the world.
we asked the space
Like
monkeys what
me,
kind
for
of
example. I'm not
you
from
want.
here.
I think
And
it's a little image of them.
Most of them just dress
Sure,
like
again,
Americans
the
would
suggestions that,
because that's where they
all the things
live
that you guys
and
have
that's where they
suggested.
grew up.
So everyone has to realize
So-
hundreds and hundreds of posts. And so we just sort of analyzed the numbers.
Yeah, it's weird to talk so much
It's
about
true, but there the
cultural
lots of- so we
influences
sort of
when
broke
it
down
should
to a
just
couple
be an
different
entirely new
answers that
culture.
people seem to come back to. There was this notion that one of the most important notions that everyone seemed to agree on it was the importance of freedom. Pirate, that's really their rock anthem. You know, they want to be free, and everyone was really interested in the idea of being able to play who they want to be, who they are, whether they consider themselves the evil, psychopathic, bloodthirsty pirate, or the or on the complete opposite end of the scale. Some people talked about being a knight in shining armor. You know, that's definitely Michel.
I also like the stick it to the man thing.
Exactly. Yeah, there was a good number of people that that thought it was important. that
Yeah,
people were
and it's going to be kind of
some
interesting,
of
the
them
idea
were
of there
things
being
that
a
were
morality
taken
system in the
to
game.
defend, some of the
Because I honestly don't know how I would play it.
others just wanted to explore the whole
Because
universe.
obviously it's a Beyond Good and Evil
Some
game,
wanted to
so
be
I hope
vessels,
there's
and they were obsessed with
stealth.
that. Discovering the unknown. was
And
a theme,
if
from
there's
a
stealth,
point of view.
then
And we love
obviously the
idea
thing to
that
do
there's
is
an
to
unknown
kill as
that
few
really
people
ties
as
into
possible.
the whole notion of beyond good
But
and
if it just turns into a weird, like, pseudo MMO third-person shooter,
Freedom within
then
the story. We
I
have
suddenly don't care anymore about keeping people alive or avoiding combat,
the program, the discussions.
because
We have seen
the game specifically tells me, hey, you know what's the most fun? Killing
because I
everyone.
can build my
And I
story.
wonder to what extent that would play into whether you're good or evil, or beyond, or between, as the game was originally called. Originally called Between Good and Evil, but it didn't sound very good, so they changed it.
And it's our job with you, with your comments, to create a game where you have a story with strong characters, with
Yeah,
traveling, adventure.
Anyway, to finish up the thought about the morality system, I really hope there isn't really one,
Contact.
because morality systems in video games never really work. And they also have the very unfortunate side effect that they judge you according to what the developer believes. Like, say there was a group of bloodthirsty pirates, and you can sneak in and steal their treasure and then sneak out without them even noticing, and then you get points for being a hero person. But if there's a group of horrible, violent people, and they are completely beyond help, like, you can't put them in prison and give them a social worker, and then 2 years later they come out and they want to try again and live a better life, you know? People you can't do that with. And also video game characters, so you doubly have no reason to care whether they live or die.
Talk a little bit about, we got a lot.
Maybe killing them is the morally good thing to do,
videos and websites.
because it saves more lives than just stealing their treasure. You know what I mean? So I really hope they just do whatever and they're just like, no, your reputation is that you're a pirate. And that's it. You're not a good pirate, you're not an evil pirate. You're just a pirate. If you want to rob a bank one day and give the money to the poor afterwards, go for it. If you want to rob a bank to buy bigger guns to blow up the police, sure, why not?
You guys can all check out.
I would hate to be locked into one single play style of just being good or just being evil and everything else being
We
suboptimal.
talk about more modern civilizations, steppe civilizations, all these different things. And these are just a few of the ones that we really picked out to show how your inspirations are directly inspiring us. So we did a couple tests on.
I don't believe
hybrid
that, to
gods.
be
A lot
honest.
of you had ideas for hybrid gods. and
I
one of them
think
was,
they just pick out the
was,
ideas
another
that line up with what they already like anyway. Also, nice use of VLC. VLC is the best.
The you know the
Um,
we want to have.
Yeah, I don't believe that we have all that much input on how the game is coming along.
Content and we talk about that.
I think they just pick out the answers that they like and then show them off.
This interaction.
To be honest, I think once there's an actual like beta for us to play,
example of,
then maybe they'll listen to feedback from content creators, from the community. I mean, when there's a beta, I'm going to play it for hours at a time and record all of it
one of the examples
and put as much footage out there as I can, put as much commentary out there as I can, because I really only started out doing YouTube videos because of Beyond Good and Evil. And the fact that it just hasn't been anything to talk about in well over a year is kind of depressing, to be honest. I was really hoping, and this is just the complete honest truth. I wanted to start making videos about Beyond Good and Evil so I can create a small but appreciative community, which I feel like I have, of people who watch those Beyond Good and Evil videos. Thank you for watching this far. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, exactly.
So I have an excuse to stream Beyond Good and Evil 2 when it comes out, so I have an excuse to play it because it's going to be a pseudo MMO.
So again, these are all tests.
And those take a lot of time. And I don't have that kind of time anymore. I did back when the game was first announced, but now, due to circumstances, I don't have that kind of free time anymore. I only have time to record videos maybe once every 2 or 3 weeks, which is why there hasn't really been much on my channel at all recently.
The theme.
So I'm honestly kind of dreading
We're going to see. So this is
how much time this game is going to take
a
up.
place that they could hang out and.
I gotta say, I forgot about all this concept art. A lot of this is really
A lot of
awesome.
ways to protect themselves.
The way we see these kind of things.
72 degrees? Okay.
Exactly.
I thought this was a European game, damn it!
Okay,
You're not gonna tell me there's 72 degrees Celsius in there. That would be crazy.
You put space in front of it, and then we do it in the game.
Space tequila.
Yeah, I do remember that line. Just put the word space in front of something related to pirates.
One more concept art to show.
Let's see.
Yeah, this one.
Oh, yeah, all right.
A
Walrus.
couple of the people. In the
Very
Facebook
serious
post
walrus.
about Inuits. And,
It's really funny to me that in the Beyond Good and Evil RPG, which I'm working on, and which is almost playable now, almost fully playable, dinosaur road cannon. I like the dinosaur patch.
So once again, that's
Um,
an Inuit.
In the Beyond Good and Evil RPG, the walruses are actually based on the walruses from the first game, who are these super nice, super happy looking guys.
Good job.
So they're like very charismatic and
well,
great great
hybrids,
merchants.
that's
But this
really
guy looks
specific
fucking
that,
crazy.
Monkey,
He looks like a space biker who's like gonna beat you to death with an iron chain.
Just kind of throwing out the concept art. And then the last blog post that we did was about hybrid exploitation, which was discrimination and exploitation, and just kind of the darker side of hybrids and Beyond Good and Evil 2.
Yeah, that's an interesting thing because the Space Monkey program is not just about story or even making the game. It's also discussion about the theme. You know, why are we making that game? And we had interesting feedbacks. For example, for the hybrid, we said, okay, our world is based on hybrid. They are used as slaves. They can be a product. You know, they can be sold. So they are like a mix between object and
That's just too cute.
And some people
That little piggy is just too cute.
The website, some people from the
House
community,
workers,
they said that
babysitters.
this is, you don't need the future for
Do you
that.
really
This is
think that in this world people
actually
would
actually
entrust their
this is
babies
you know, you have like those,
to a hybrid?
or pigs or
You
whatever,
know,
they are
hybrids
like
who
products
are
to
famously
authorities.
mistreated
It's really us
and
trying to,
might rise up any moment and might just eat your baby. Do you really think that's a good idea?
This is something you have in your game. This is
Also, weapon trafficking. I don't.
And the discussion.
I don't see that really being a problem in a world that seems fairly lawless to begin with, but
sharing ideas and
oh well.
and more than everything, thinking about what's important. You know, when you're playing a game, you can do a good score, you can evolve, have XP and things like that, but the experience, what you get at the end, is very important. So this kind of theme, you know, about what's happening in the world, the reason for this and that is very interesting.
Yeah, we had a bunch of people from South Africa talk to us, of course, about apartheid, which they've lived every day. So again, this connection that we want to make sure that oh, there we go. Whee!
The Gata is falling apart.
It's okay. It's okay.
You're fine. You're fine.
We have the machine is broken.
More smoke, more smoke.
I don't know who said the special effects, but
That startled me a little.
Off screen, but a big statue just
off
fell
the wall.
behind.
Nox
The-
is okay though. Nox is cool.
No, that's okay. But yeah, there are some subjects we can't talk about.
Oh, the
and some
subtitles
bad
struggled
stories
really
are
hard, right?
appearing in the room.
Seriously.
But in any case, you saw a number of there are a lot of the key themes that have inspired a number of concept arts also, and ideas that we're working on. A couple cool ones, a couple scary ones, like the idea that there's a couple of the Space Monkeys talked about hunting, sort of having sort of rich corporate hunting expeditions, you know, as if we were going to go to Africa and hunt for rhinos and bring their horns back. So that was something that we thought was a frightening
Would that
concept.
really mean anything? Because if you can just clone whatever, can't people just clone rhino horns, elephant tusks and stuff? Can't you just grow them in a lab?
Thanks a lot for you to.
And I'm not saying that you know, would replace hunting them, but wouldn't it take away from the prestige of having
characters actually.
a
Alluded to it.
head mounted to a wall if you can just 3D print one?
It's you know, the project is a big technical challenge. When you're making such a game, you've got nice concept arts, nice discussions, but you need to make it. You need to make the game, and here we wanted to show you where we are.
So Gabriel Schrager and Michel Ancel, both of them, I believe, obviously Michel Ancel, but I think Gabriel Schrager is also not working on the game anymore, and I don't think she has in years. So obviously I don't think that either of them are completely irreplaceable, but it still messes with the plan. See some of the hybrids. They're all made to look pretty ugly. But in a very appealing sort of way, in a very gritty, realistic... Oh, crocodile! I forgot there were crocodiles! Guys, I might have to play as a crocodile. No, I'm sticking to pig, probably. Just because it probably won't be the most, popular option. Ooh, shark. Sharkman. Ah, he looks... What does he look like? Shit. What does the shark look like? You know, as a kid I always thought that the sharks in Beyond Good and Evil 1 were rats.
It's very important for us. It's a big
Because
achievement
they kind of
of the
just
team, of
look
the big
like
challenge we
rats
have
to
in
me.
the world we've
Never
made
put
in-
together that they're
But not
sharks.
just, you know, a human
Because
with
I didn't
red
happen
hat
to know
pink shoes
Car-
or something like that.
Carchadon
It's
or
about
whatever they're called in Latin.
really,
Or a
really
shiny,
different.
glittery
pink
hat.
shoes.
Yeah. Yeah, of course, but more than everything, you see the system here is not just mixing male, female, muscle, thin. It's also mixing the species, which is unique. It's a new thing. You know, it's this ability to transform, to modify with DNA, pieces of DNA that creates a unique character. So it's
The crocodile always cracks me up for some reason.
for us because
Man, that is a
when we are
disgusting
working on
pig.
character for concept
I want to
art,
play the
for video, for
smallest, fattest little pig. I want to be wider than I'm tall, and I want to move by rolling around. I want to do a spin dash every time I
This is
fall
very,
over.
very interesting. So this is of course to create the character of different characters in the game. This could be used for character creation on the player side. This is still open, but we wanted to share that with you.
Why does the crocodile get me every
A
time?
real piece of technology that I've myself never seen in any game. You know, even in the movie industry, I'm not sure they're using such a powerful tool.
And the thing that's mind blowing even is that so it's the same basis, right? We transform from a shark to a pig.
There is
to
a message.
There is a message maybe behind this.
Yeah, we all come from the same shape.
We're all made of stardust. That's what I've heard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the other really cool thing about it is that so you might think of these characters that seem generic, but the whole idea that each of these characters that are actually going to exist in the world will have their own stories. They're not just going to be basic NPCs with lame barks.
And they will have clothes.
And they will no.
No.
You didn't just say that.
Pink shoes.
Yeah, but so even though they might look generic from that point of view, this is an example of a hybrid rhino that one of our concept artists really works on. You can see his jetpack, and the idea is that they'll be very incredibly personalized, and they'll all have their own identity and their own story.
He's a space monkey.
Yeah, he's a
Looks
space
awesome.
He's in the space monkey faction for sure. And many of these characters will be what we call our legendary characters, who are some of the characters that we'll be able to meet and recruit as we move through the universe, and recruit them as much for what they're going to bring to us from an intimate and human point of view. Or hybrid.
Yeah, I'm getting very strong Metal Gear Solid 5 vibes from the idea of saving and recruiting people. And that's a good thing, because that part of that game always appealed to me a lot. Just do something tangible, like freeing prisoners or persuading people to join
For example,
physically in the game world with your own actions,
you meet him in the game,
and then have them transferred over to a management screen, basically.
in a bad mood, things are going bad, and you discover that his grandparents died, and you have to go on his planet, and there is this connection because of this DNA system. We can have the parents and grandparents of the character. So it's not just characters with just what they are today. It's what they were, where they're coming from, and how you travel through the world, discover his village, and go through the story with this system that is really based on those DNA ingredients and that connects generations
It's all connected.
and places, and it allows us to build stories.
I thought people were barren in this universe,
Again, what's happening today,
or in this system at least.
the real story that can happen into the game.
Okay, well, we've talked a lot about hybrids now. How about the other subject that people are really excited about are ships? So we have
Hell yeah,
we did
customizing
a
spaceships,
post,
that's my
with
jam.
The merchant mothership. There she is.
Here she blows.
With stupid sails
Got
for
a
some
lot
reason.
of really positive, great feedback on this.
Those
concept
sails are
art.
only a
And
problem.
so we have
Is that a character for
another
water?
little
I think
video
it
for you
is.
guys to show you how we're gonna get around in System 3.
I just want to build a spaceship. with as many cannons as possible. I do love the degree of customization, even if it's just colors and patterns. Barrel rolls are always good to see. No, but like it looks like you can customize a decent amount of it. Why does it just say China and then some more characters on there? I don't know. Yeah, can customize your little tuk-tuks. Yeah, it's amazing how much of these streams I completely forgot about. Yeah, I'm very much a either give me a small fighter or a ship that's so big that it doesn't fit on the screen kind of guy. You can turn it into a little bumblebee. They already have a lot of the modeling work done, but unfortunately that's only half the battle.
So, sorry, we're talking about something else. We were talking about how to get around. So the way we want to get around all these stories is
all gonna come down to the code, because
one of the big fantasies is
in
what are our vehicles going to look like, what are our spaceships going to look like.
In motion, Ubisoft games usually look a lot worse than they do in screenshots, if you know what I mean.
The types of vehicles and combinations.
If you remember, what was it, Assassin's Creed Unity? That one is, they're never gonna live that one down. But I guess that's all AAA games these days. I think Elden Ring is like the only one that even came close to being as good as advertised in a long time. I don't even remember any AAA games before that that weren't like Sony or Nintendo first parties. I mean like third party AAA games that actually ended up being any good.
Create a fleet like four players. One is directing the fleet and the other are just discussing, looking around.
I'm really curious to see how necessary the multiplayer is going to be. Because I like to play things at my own pace, I don't want to have to wait for other people to have time to play with me, and I especially don't want other people to have to wait for me to have time to play with them, because that just seems like anxiety central. Like, I'm not interested in that at all.
Those ships you bring, you brought from different places.
And depending on the activities that you want to have in the game, you choose different spaceships, right?
Right.
Usually you get around the city with your big spaceship, but when you want to go like sneaky into the streets to be unnoticed, then you take your small space tuk-tuk, going a bit slow but very quiet. And
remember, you have to put space in front of everything. Space tuk-tuk, spaceship.
And you can even steal some of the ships within the game, within the city. To be even more,
How much longer is this?
Right, unless you get caught skyjacking, in which case
Okay.
you're in trouble.
I think you mean space jacking.
because pirates are about this. It's about the ships, the spaceships, but also the crew. There is a connection between the two. You will need a specific, maybe a character from a specific place that is able to understand the technology behind a spaceship or part of a spaceship. You know, is
the expertise and the know-how.
Exactly. So maybe you will have to, and through the story, you can discover this kind of character. Person, and that will help you using this old engine that nobody knows how to use it, and it's connecting the story and the spaceship.
Yeah, that's kind of cool. I think there was also a feature in Metal Gear Solid 5, actually, that there were certain pieces of technology that you could only research when you have people who have that specific specialty as a trait.
And they support
so,
the message of the game.
Yeah, I honestly think, just from the way they're describing it, that this is gonna have very strong Breath of the Wild energy,
because I
where you can unlock new features in different orders depending on which planets you go to. Like one person goes to planet B and unlocks
So
a
we
specific
talked
type
about
of fighter
characters,
upgrade
hybrid,
12 hours before
vessels,
someone who starts at planet
vehicles.
C
What's happening?
would.
What are you guys working on now?
I'm definitely getting that feeling.
That team.
I also think that like you're going to have to collect a lot of different crew members as well as a lot of pearls to keep upgrading your ship and making it more powerful. And like I said, pearls are Divalite. That's there's just no way they're not. Otherwise they wouldn't even be in this game, I don't think. Still don't know why they're called Pearls of Aramis, but you know.
Right now, what the focus is to have more people embark on the journey, and the big focus actually today is the city that you see behind. I don't know if you can see it on screen. It's behind us.
It's kind of hidden in the corner, but it's Ganesha City from the trailer.
So the main focus of everybody on the team is to actually build a real vibrant, living city that you can explore. Yeah, that's the big thing, because the city.
Yeah, I'm really curious how they're going to pull that off. I really hope it's not going to be a Ubisoft sandbox. I desperately hope it's not, where, oh, here's the thing you can do. It's an area where there are 10 feathers you can pick up, or here's the thing you can do. It's a police blockade with the same 3 types of enemies copy-pasted all over the map, and you can go there and take it out to gain 10% of a level. That would be so annoying and so lame, and the worst part about it is you would have to do it because of the way Ubisoft games are designed these days. The thing that really pulled me away from Ubisoft games permanently until this game comes out is in Assassin's Creed Origins, when you sneak up to someone who's 3 levels higher than you and you stab them in their sleep, and then they just get up and kill you in one hit. And the fact that your skill becomes so incredibly insignificant, because I did the right thing tactically. I did it fine. I snuck up to someone while they were asleep and then stabbed them. That's the best way to eliminate someone instantly. But it doesn't matter because the level was too damn high. And I'm really worried that Beyond Good and Evil 2 is going to have the same problem, where I sneak up on an alpha sections who is level 15 and I'm level 12, and I kick the air tank, and then it did 20% damage to the air tank, and then the guy turns around and shoots me instantly. I'm really worried about that.
Sanskrit was correct, and some of us told us that the rotation was going in the wrong way. But beyond that, I think that they were pretty happy.
That. I mean, keep giving us this
exactly.
feedback.
We depend on you guys to tell us when.
We will fix that.
Absolutely. But we did get a tremendous, lots of warmth from you guys, and also really pointed comments about what your culture is all about, and the stories, and even more inspiration, so that we take that even further. So please continue to give that kind of feedback to us. We're grateful.
Yes, something that we didn't mention it in the beginning of the Twitch, but
come on, say something else I can talk about. Jeez.
The Space Monkey program, this will to get you, the fans, the Space Monkeys, on board. That's something new for us. It's not something that we've done before. It's something that we really deeply think is the right way to develop this game. But we're taking kind of a leap of faith in here. So it's very important for us to keep on getting your support.
Yeah, exactly.
You can comment on Kevin's hat, for example. Everything.
Kevin.
We will fix it all well. And that's
come on, his accent is not that bad. Subtitles.
Well, I think that's about it for the update, and now we have some questions from the Space Monkeys.
All right, let's hear them.
We have a question from Legion 495 on the forums. Did you always want to do a prequel?
No,
Next
Okay,
question.
thank you.
no, of course no.
That's a good
First
answer.
idea with Beyond Good and Evil was to make three games, a trilogy. But when we started thinking about doing the next game, we thought that the world of Beyond Good and Evil was so big, so dense, that it would be a shame not to talk about it, talk about the origins, where the hybrids are coming from.
I don't fully believe that. I think they just wanted to make another Beyond Good and Evil game that they could make into a game as service kind of thing.
We want
Because if they made just Beyond Good and Evil 2, the sequel, it would be a Zelda-like stealth action game that lasts 10 to 15 hours, and then you're done with it. And there's no experience point boosters that you can buy for $9.99.
Question from actually quite a few people. Will we have an AI like Segundo from Beyond Good and Evil?
From Bianca Daniel.
Interesting question. Segundo was a real character, he was an AI character, but he was kind of existing into the game. Here we want something a bit different. We want the crew member, the what we call the officers. They are real characters you will meet during your journey. Like in Beyond Good and Evil, you are with Paige or Double H. These characters you meet them, you have a story with them. So we don't want to have characters that you are forced to do your journey with. So today we don't think we will use such an AI because we prefer the player to meet important characters, because now we have this ability to have many of those encounters to be in your
I like that they have questions that the answer isn't just yes to. I kind of appreciate that. Hey, is there going to be an AI like Segundo? No.
Speaking of biological, are there female hybrids?
Yes, absolutely.
Question from several people,
Yeah,
actually.
in fact, we paired just a couple of tests that we've done most recently for those fans of the first Beyond Good and Evil. There's one who they both evoke a little bit May, for anyone who remembers the hybrid cat that we have. It was one of my favorite characters from the original. So these are just two examples of, again, when we saw that you guys wanted to make sure that we were working on females as well as male hybrid characters and females and males in general. So be reassured, there will definitely be females. There will definitely be female hybrids, and these are just two tests that we worked on recently.
And you will even have transgenre characters. So we want to
Based.
be very open to diversity and many things.
Really curious how they're going to do that.
Yeah, for the monkeys,
but
yeah, there
absolutely,
was like
yeah, good on you, Ubisoft.
between animals,
I gotta
between
give
apes,
credit where
between
credit is
humans,
due. They are
between
thinking
Asian,
about
European. Why not?
they're
Yeah.
thinking about adding
Hybrid.
trans characters. That's awesome.
That's right.
And if you think that that's not significant,
Question from
you've never talked to a
Cultural-
trans person before, and you should. You should.
Will there be more than
You
one
know?
flavor of K-pop?
I've met a couple of them, and they're really nice people. Because guess what? They're human beings like everyone
It's like
else.
ketchup. They
And
try
it's nice that they get to
yeah,
play a trans character. It's nice that anyone gets to play a trans character. Just to normalize it further, I think that's cool. And if you don't, then unsubscribe.
Kebabs, it's one pure
And it's a
kebab.
secret recipe, right?
Of course.
Okay.
Of course.
No more questions about
No,
K-Bobs.
no,
please.
no.
He's very sensitive about
Yeah, I have to drink now. I'm stressed. I don't know what's inside of
It's
this.
flavored
Yeah, I don't know
K-Bobs.
if this is
It's really old.
oh, these are risky.
Will there be a traditional story like the first game, or will players be creating the story amongst themselves? I think you kind of touched upon that, but that's a question from P45 Key4 MT5.
Whoops. That was hard to pronounce. Say that 5 times fast.
Thank you for that username. I appreciate it.
Can you repeat the question?
Will it be
got
a
lost in
traditional
it.
story like the first game, or will players be creating the story amongst themselves? So touching more
Yeah.
upon.
Yeah. So Michel, yeah, he definitely touched on that. I think there's also since we really want to play this game cooperatively, so we have be able to play with friends at the same time. So there will be part of the stories that you will, in a sense, be constructing yourselves among yourselves, because the player stories, the stories that you live out with your friends, are stories that you're telling yourselves as you discover and explore the world. So there'll definitely be that aspect of creating.
Yeah, but will there be a
stories,
single-player
especially
story,
when you're
though?
with your friends. And then Michel said earlier that we do want to make sure that there's lots of story, maybe not exactly in traditional sense. It's hard to put an exact word on that. But yes, there'll be stories that have beginnings, middle, and end, and that will be emotional and strong characters.
It's very important to say that you can play offline if you want. You will be able to have this feeling of living a story.
I wonder if that's still the case, that you can play offline.
You can play solo for sure.
So that's the basic thing, you know. But we want to invite people to play with friends on top of that. You know, like, hey, I could do this.
You can play solo.
You know, I could go in this spaceship cemetery, which is very a difficult part of the game, but I could invite a friend to go there with my friend.
And discover
I will
it.
share the GPS coordinate, you know, the space coordinate. We will meet into this giant cemetery, and we will have a PlayStation into this giant cemetery. But if I want to play solo,
We'll have a
my own
PlayStation? What?
adventure, you can. So you can play the BGN one style, or you can play or another type
It's
of
not or, it's
experience.
and as well.
There's no, you know, we don't want to create a barrier, and we don't want to force people to online. It's just we invite them to try that. They're not forced, but it's so fun.
Okay. Question from Irvin Gallied. Will the hybrids have personalities matching the animal part in them? For example, lion hybrids being proud.
That's a really interesting question that we've been asking ourselves a lot. Like how important it is.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about that,
we
because
refer to
in-
an animal's true instincts.
I guess I do know how I feel about that. In the RPG that I'm working on, it's very much the case that people, that hybrids, have strong animal components to them. Like the fact that goats get into fights all the time, and sharks or become frenzied when they taste blood.
Sharks appropriate
So-
treatment, as opposed to just considering them as, you know, the traditional dead-eyed, really dark, evil Jaws type character. And that made us, we had a long discussion about that, because we wanted to make sure that, yeah, they get a fair deal too. So maybe the corporations will use them like attack dogs, and they're scary. I mean, naturally scary animals. But then you'll see them as a pirate when they're freed, and then they could be their own freewheeling, you know, rock and roll self. So we definitely want to stigmatize animals based on their natural instincts. But it does make sense that if you're going to create hybrids, then you're probably going to use what they do best. So strong rhinos are going to be carrying big, you know, machine bundles.
But it's interesting, as you mentioned, to create surprises. Not just to
Exactly.
be
Do the contrast as well.
you know.
Yeah, I definitely think that they
they're more complex than
did a pretty good job with
Because
that in the first game. The fact that you
DNA technology,
never
it's not
actually,
just
you never fight hybrids in the first game.
coming from another
Like, you
animal.
meet sharks and they're kind of abrasive, but one of them just plays air hockey and the other one's just a hovercraft racer. And they're just kind of chill like that.
What else do we have here? Is the Mamago Garage theme song coming back? From Drakenzad.
For sure, we're definitely working with Christophe.
Yeah, Christopher Hall, the composer, is still on the project. He's on the project.
Oh yeah, I think
Love-
Christopher Roll is
love
still
the
working
building
on
of
it,
the world,
right?
you know,
He was
that
on the
one with,
last
with
stream,
his brother,
but the last stream was a year and a half ago, I think.
drummer, you know, guy, and I remember when we did that song. With
But yeah, that's the
guy
other
who
thing.
recorded
Yeah, they did a really good
voice
job
Mamago,
subverting
doing the
expectations with
recording sessions
the
that you see.
rhinos,
Only sing.
because, you know, they
Yeah,
were
we are
Jamaican
recording the song,
themed and they
but
were
the voice,
they
and then we
were
did the music
mechanics.
based on the
they weren't
improv.
bouncers or
So it was very
anything.
funny. But yes, this spirit.
It was all improv.
Yeah, it was an
came
improv.
from-
Yeah, like almost everything we are doing, you know, on this game.
And it's confirmed that Mamago is in the garage.
Okay, not quite.
A lot of things.
A lot of
Like
improv
the Space
and
Monkey
a lot of
program.
sweat and blood.
And
Spontaneity.
Exactly, spontaneity.
this is a
Yeah.
this is a good closing question. How can we contribute to game development? From Wacky Z.
Good question.
This is a very interesting question. We are working hard, and Guillaume is working very hard on finding ways to have the community being able to participate, not just on the website, but with also being able to create content for the game, and that would be into the game. And there are many things that are possible. We are not going to talk to this too much today, but he's traveling around the world, with big business people and all these things, so that we can find a fair way of, collaborating with the fans, with artists, musicians, drawing people, and all that. So it's the next steps. It's part of the thing that is moving us.
Yeah, I can definitely appreciate that the hit record thing actually went through. Like, if you watched Denise Take's Beyond Good and Evil community stream recently, it was nice to see several people whose music got into the game, and they actually got paid for it and everything. Not a lot, apparently, but they got paid for it and they can add it to their resume, so that's good at least. So I feel very conflicted about this whole community integration thing, because on the one hand, yes, it's actually happening. On the other hand, some of the stuff, like the song "Hybrid for Life," I hate. I hate it personally and with a deep passion, and I do mean that as a personal offense to the artist who created it. I personally dislike. No, I don't. I don't personally dislike you. I just don't like the song.
And thank you
Thanks for tuning in.
Looks like we made it
Yes,
through.
thanks to everyone who
Hey,
helped us make this
I did not
first
think I was going to be
live
able
Twitch
to
with not
talk
too many dead people.
for a solid
Almost.
20 minutes during this 1 hour stream.
Bye-bye,
Thank you.
see you all soon. Woo!
Yeah, see you all soon. And you've all retired now. Or at least you aren't working on the game anymore. Okay, well. Thank you very much for hanging out with me today and watching the Beyond Good and Evil 2 Space Monkey Report #1 live stream. I had a good time rewatching this. It's a little funny to hear we're gonna get the game into your hands as soon as possible 5 years later. Ugh. But I get it. Okay, they want it to be more polished. The game is very ambitious, so gonna be honest, if it wasn't called Beyond Good and Evil 2, I wouldn't even care about it anymore. But it is! And even though Michel Ancel isn't working on it anymore, Christophe Herald, to my knowledge, still is. And that's exciting, because I love his music and his sound design. Yeah, it is called Beyond Good and Evil 2, so I still care. I'm not overly optimistic about it, though. I gotta say, like, a lot of other people in the community are very militantly optimistic. And while I do know the game is still in development because they're still hiring new people for it all the time, they hired a new lead writer recently, which is a good thing, not a bad thing. The fact that they found someone they think is right for the job is good. The fact that it happened so late into development, or the fact that 5 years in we're still not late in development, is kind of crazy. But what are you gonna do? I think the game will come out. I am just worried that it won't be good. So that's kind of something that I'm trying to reassess as I watch more of these live streams. That ideally we will get this game in a couple of years, and ideally it'll be very, very good. Alternatively, it'll come out, there'll be a really nice collector's edition with some nice statuettes, And I'm gonna get that, and then I'm gonna play the game, and it's gonna suck, and at least, hey, I still have the nice collectibles. And a nice little reminder of the community that kickstarted my YouTube channel, as small as that channel still is to this day. So, yeah, like I said, thank you very much for hanging out. I think that'll do it for me for today. And I will see you next time. Let me know if there's anything Beyond Good and Evil related that you would like me to talk about, because I am already running out of ideas. There's 5 more of these streams, and I already covered the latest one. I already covered number 6, and now I've covered number 1. So we're closing in already on the end of content for Beyond Good and Evil once again. Thank you for watching. I think I've said that 2 times already, 3 times now. And if you found this video entertaining, informative, or good to fall asleep to, make sure you like and subscribe. Leave a comment telling me what your favorite space monkey meme is, which I'm sure there are some. And I will see you next time. Bye-bye.